Sorry for the invitation, also the director. I met you probably 7 years back, and also my friend Prof. and others. It's a long day for me, but I left at 3 o'clock from Chennai to come to Pune with a 21 flight. We have more flights to Gulf than in the country now. You can go to Gulf, there will be 10 flights from Pune. Not maybe Pune to Chennai, maybe only one flight. I had long lectures, but I promised Hari that I'll come today. He came and I talked to on some of my fascinating ideas on what is going to be the future of migration post-COVID. I think this is what I'm going to talk to you. Just look what's going to happen, because we know that COVID-19 was a turning point for both migrant and migration researchers, not just migrants. We were thinking about them, and everybody was thinking about them at that time. I think now, of course, recently I talked to one of the migrants. You were talking too much about us during COVID-19. Now nobody talking about us. So we pray God that there should be one more COVID like that. So then you will start thinking about that. Now nobody talks about migration now. It's over now. Business is over. Life is as usual. We never talk about one country, one ration card. We never talk about housing for migrants. We never talk about first talking about the elections for them. Little bit vote bank. That is also not working out. Some people are against that. So things are happening, and when I'm talking today, that at least I got several phone calls. Migrants are being beaten up in Chennai. I said this was happening in Mumbai several years back. So it's like in our whole country we have created a revamp. Migration is happening around. So this is going to happen. You like it or not. So in this context, I thought I will talk to you on this post-COVID. What will happen? Global migration, not just the internal migration. And before I start, because being trained in economics in the very younger days, and then moved to IIPS to do a PhD at Mumbai, where I met my friend as a young boy, Professor Bhagat. And then, of course, later I went to CDS. I saw James as a young boy doing PhD under me. Of course, he's holding the director of IIPS now. I want student being director of IIPS is something very great for academia. And so I wanted to give you some big issue which we are not talking right now, which is how the demography is going to change the whole world now. That is what I call them. Demography is the destiny for the world, not economics, not anthropology, not sociology, not politics. Demography is going to destine. If India want to achieve 5 trillion economy, it is demography. If India want to be the skill capital, as Prime Minister says, demography. Everything is demography, and now economy is talking about demography. Right now, they are talking about that. We have another 20 years, and we are number one in the world in terms of any demography. We have overtaken China. You know that almost we are. Still, we have no census anyway, which I am fighting for last 50 years. The census is not being conducted. So we don't know much about migration now, no data available. Of course, when I talked to the government of India, they said that there was a COVID. I said, look, sorry, the election commission did elections during COVID-19. They can do what is wrong with the census commission. Because census commission, there is no roadshow. They will come to their house and do the counting. Whereas the election, there was a roadshow. People were running with the 10 cars and other things. So that means there was no interest to collect data. Maybe generally the data driven policy probably missing. I don't know, but there is lot of interest on database itself. So let us divide the whole world into 3 types of, this is some type of a theoretical, and also I'm thinking about the future, what is going to happen. I am dividing some type of 3 phases in demography. As some of you know that the whole world is moving through 3 demographic periods. Only 3 demographic periods: birth, death, and migration. All of us are born, and all of us will die. No escape. No escape. So you are all born, we will all die. Only that we don't know, we know our date of birth. We celebrate our birthday, but we don't celebrate birthday. Somebody will celebrate our death anniversary. We are not there to celebrate it anyway. But death is part of the life. You have to, everything. That's like a movie. That's the end. You cannot go on running. It has to close. 2 hours, maybe 2 hours, 33 minutes, 3 hours. Some movie will be only 1 hour. English movies, 40 minutes, but it has to end. But between the period is the migration. But unfortunately, fertility, mortality, all of us go through. But migration, not everybody experience. That's a very, very important point for it. That's why we are not talking too much about migration. Not everybody experiences. Even today, when I talk to you today, India currently has 600 million Indians. 600 million Indians who are living in a place they are not born. 600 million Indians. Out of that, 200 million are hardcore migrants, low skill, informal, within districts, between districts and between states. 200 million people, 200 million is a big number. Of course, people will say it is less or no. Government says 80 million, somebody says 100 million, but I say it is 200 million. I'm not going to go back with that my number because I think.
So can we ask you clarification?
Yes. Anytime you can stop
In the middle because it will interrupt your flow. But
no, that's fine. That's okay. Yeah.
Clarification.
Yeah.
You say people who are born, staying where they are not born. Is there a minimum distance you have to travel? Suppose it's 50 kilometers away. It's still considered to be a migrant.
No, this is the census definition. So it is not the question. Even you are away from 5 kilometers, you are living in a place you are not born. You are migrant. This is the census definition. The same definition we had 400 million people in the 2005. You compare the trends between 81, 91, 2001, and 11. The trend. And plus the policies pursued by the current government for the last 9 years, which is, I call them to push more migration and more urbanization. Because some of them, I don't know, some of the economists or some of the advisors to Prime Minister believe that urbanization will lead to economic growth. There is some theoretical background assumptions. That is why they started something we are all familiar, smart city projects. 100 smart cities or 100 plus, I don't know, 100 smart cities. Smart cities will migration. Cities, you take any city that will be more migration than the natural cities. So I think if you add up the new policy intervention by the current government for last 9 years, so the migration is expected to be around 600. People who are living in a place who are not born. That includes me. I was born in Tamil Nadu, I live in Kerala. It includes our Prime Minister. He was born in Gujarat, he lives in Delhi now. So it includes many of you. We are all internal migrants. Of course, we have no problem. Fortunately, we are all so-called big migrants, but we are all talking about the low-skilled, unskilled, what is called this semi-skilled, informal workers, because we all get money work at home during COVID-19. That domestic worker, they are selling somebody in the road, vegetable, they would not make money. They become basically poor. We given them, of course, rights, food, and other things, but still, I think the income was cut out. This is the general definition. So, if you look at the 3 periods, 1900 to 1950, I am grading one period. Then 1950 to 200, it is not based on any time. Because such I want to give an idea of how the world is changing. World is changing. We are chasing. Sometimes I chase in, then I forget about it. Then I'm chasing. Like the government said, now they are chasing everybody in this particular state. Then forget, election is over. Now they are chasing. We are all chasing globally, not any India. It's global chasing. So we have 3 important variables: fertility, mortality, and migration. As I said earlier, migration is not everybody. Even in India, only 1/3 of the people are migrating. 1/3, not everybody. Some people born in the village, married there, live there, die there. They never move. Some of them even not able to go to the remote rural area, meet people. And some of the people we see them, the husband might be moving. I have talked to many women in Kerala. They said they married their husband. He said, "Where did you go?" So it's like people don't move. Somebody might be moving, but they may be getting money from that. They may be eating well. Children might go to English medium school. Their household will have a good house with a bathroom. They will have a healthy conduct. There are benefits, but they were not migrated. Only one migrates and money, and then benefits of that. That's why the Sustainable Development Goal really talks about migration. Very important. We are talking about migration. If you look at that, let me start with the 1900, 1950. The whole world, an average people used to live only 25 years. Only 25 years. People are dead. Many people have not seen their grandchildren. In fact, they have not seen even their children's marriage. I was talking to somebody who is 80 plus. He said, when I got married, at the time, my father was dead. My mother was standing with me in the marriage. And my husband said, both of them died. And today, if I go and see any marriages in any place, you see the boy's mother and father, the girl's mother and father, and also grandparents. Sometimes even grandparents sitting there, they're going saree, looks like that. You go and touch them. That indicates how the mortality has been improved. So, an average Indian was living 25 years, but now we are living 70 years. Globally, of course, 75, 80 years, China, Japan, we can talk about, but globally, let us look at it. People were dying earlier. Now, what we thought, everybody was chasing how to control mortality. I think that was the whole world. They were thinking how to control mortality. But I was reading some literature. We were now running against the, what is called the COVID vaccination. There was a vaccination trial against smallpox in 1910, 1950. And India, I don't know how many of you have seen that Indian data. In 1911-21, India had a negative population growth rate. India had a negative population growth rate. We are not had to even COVID-19. There was more deaths. People said more deaths than the government reported. Maybe triple, double. But still, the deaths were not more than birth. 1911-21, India experienced a negative growth rate. Only one place it was not negative. This was the state I come from, Kerala. I don't belong to the state. I was born in another state, but I live there. So I like them now. But then I look at that, they had positive growth rate. Because Kerala was having low mortality even those people. Then I was looking at them, why Kerala people like that? When I talk to people, why Kerala people are living longer even those days? Somebody said they had plenty of water. They used to take bath 2 times, morning and evening. I asked some people, yes, sir, oh, they used to take like that earlier. They take water, they take bath 2 times. Here we are not to water take even 1 time bath. Because you'll be sweating, you'll sleep like this. They have taken 2 time bath. And then they said there's a very interesting thing they story. They said, sir, when we are hungry, you can go to sea, get the fish and eat. If you are very hungry, you started digging the face and you get ketchup. You are really thirsty, you don't need to look for Coca-Cola, you can look up coconut water. All of the fresh coconut water, fresh fish, and fresh tortilla. They were all, eating well. Nothing to be imported. Now we are importing rice. Now, of course, now the Topiaka becomes the rich man's food. You don't get Topiaka now. Everything was rice. Oh, rice. But now you go to the big water, they give you Topiaka a little bit. See, now it was earlier. So there are a lot of reasons. I'm not going to that Kerala, but I'm saying India had a negative growth rate. We were running in immunization for children. Those days, we all know, some of you are 60 plus, you will see, all of us had something like a big thing. But my mother was telling me, I was running, but she has to catch me because I was a teacher, and they have to put me there. Of course, they used to go to school and do this. So I have a big thing. My son asked me why I don't have. I said, no. They have now different way of putting TPT, TT, I don't know, OT, whatever it is. So we were all controlling mortality. Every country was controlling mortality. And mortality decline happened in the developed countries. We were all blamed. Oh, India, oh, high mortality. Oh, India. Oh, India. Like developed countries were upper, they were living longer. There was a differential. And then we call them mortality revolution. And we did very simple thing. We borrowed the technology. Okay. Inject them, and we all eradicated smallpox, also those things. And never in the history after the 1911-31, India had 90%. India had positive, we reached 2%. So by 1950s, globally, all policies, program on mortality was almost, we said enough. We controlled mortality, people started living longer. In the meantime, we experienced what is called the high fertility. So the mortality regime is over. We stopped working on mortality. Enough. And I saw, if you look at the literature, those periods, there were hundreds of demographers working only on mortality. Not even a single person working on migration that period in 1951. Where is the migration? People are dying now. Nobody. Not even a single politician talk about migration, what they talk today. So 1950, how to control mortality, how to control malaria, how to control smallpox, how to control influenza, how to control yellow fever. People are dying like flies in Bombay, for example. I was looking at the church records when I did my PhD in 1986, 87 in Bangalore. I went to one of the church. I was looking at the data. There was a burial at 10 o'clock. The husband died. They buried and went back, the wife died. 11 o'clock, another burial. 12 o'clock, the first son died. And 1 o'clock, the other son. Whole family was finished within 4 hours. It happened not anywhere. In Mumbai. Not long time. 100 years back. So mortality was the big thing and that is over. Then what to do? We thought we should control fertility. And every country started looking at this. They said, population bomb. My God, India, no place to stand. And people are talking about, oh, India is growing. How many people India can hold? Billion? 1 billion? 2 billion? Everybody started chasing what is called the fertility questions. And started not only that, we started that. In fact, 1935 itself, there was a committee set up by the Indian National Congress under the leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru to study population growth. And 1950, the first 5-year plan, they are writing a 5-year plan, population to be discussed. They were talking about how to control fertility. Mortality era is over. Fertility is a topic, and India is the first country in the world to talk about population control. First country in the world to talk about population control. And we did several things. We got a lot of new methods, lot of new things. I was told, I was reading some literature in 1964 when the IUD came to India, the health minister said, a savior is born. Because the IUD will solve all the problems in the country because everybody will use family planning, fertility will come down. Nothing happened. We had emergency. 8 million sterilization was done. 8 million sterilization was done. To control indirectly fertility, of course. Before the fertility came down, the party came down. If you play with the demography, you are down. Don't play with demography. We are playing with migration. I'm sure people are going to come down. Donald Trump talks about migration in this last election. America first. Half of the Americans are outsiders. We have now the Indo-American president. Kamala Harris went there instead of 1960 from Chennai to study in US. So don't play. If we could not get second term. You can use migration as a vote bank and create tension, maybe one election. Sorry. We have to learn from what happened to Donald Trump. I will talk about that a little later, but I just wanted to, we were doing that, sterilization. Of course, we never did that. In fact, we changed the name. And the new political party came, they changed it from family planning to family welfare in this country. When India did this, China was looking at it. Oh my God, they are controlled fertility very fast. They started after the emergency, what is called today, one-child family norm in 1979. It is not started because of that. If you have no emergency problem, they would not have about. They said India started controlling fertility. We will be producing more people. We should start. Of course, they had a very vigorous one-child family because there were no elections like India. The elections can change people. Elections is something. Of course, we don't know how democracy is moving, but still, I think still elections are happening. People are going for vote. There is a change. Change is happening. You know, the party came to almost. They were not there after the emergency. Of course, then they came back to power with a different thing. But of course, there is an immediate effect of that because they were trying to control fertility. Because people don't play with when you play with the demographic variables, especially on fertility and migration, you are going down. Because mortality is a public policy. We all should remember that mortality control is a public policy. When they say, please come, we will give you vaccination, you can reduce the effect of COVID-19. All of us will go and stand. You saw this stand, you saw this stand to get immunized. We all did during COVID-19. Everybody is running to get the vaccine. Vaccine 1, vaccine 2, 3, booster, 5. I get to America, we are running 7th booster. But the same government tells you, please come, we will give you injection, you will not produce any more children. Nobody will go near to that particular booth to get vaccinated. So fertility is basically a private decision. Private decision. Please remember that fertility is a private decision. We decide how many children we want. Government can tell, they can give incentive, they can give you cafeteria method. People have to realize. We realized only in 2022, as per the NFHS says, on an average, Indians have only 2 children. So we took 1952, almost 70 years. So we had emergency, every country had problem. For example, Romania. Romania said, best thing is that we should start legalizing abortions. They said, abortion is easily available. The fertility was down by 50%. We also had NTP, Medical Pregnancy Act came in 1970s under the leadership of Indira Gandhi. So you can see all the policies and programs were aimed by many countries to control fertility, and many foreign countries like US and other things, they were funding India. Now they are funding Europe. Europe is funding to Africa, don't come here. We will use job in Africa. See, earlier they were funding how to increase family wealth, how to create a new method called North plant. They were funding. They were sending money to fund so that these people are producing like, India, control, new methods. So we were funding because we got funding. There was a donor-driven research and family planning in this country. Donor-driven. And it was happening. So we had 50 years by 2000, almost globally, I can tell you. We have come to a stage and an average woman used to produce 2 children. There are some places, in fact, I remember there was a lot of debate. I was part of that about Muslim fertility in India. Muslim fertility. You might heard about that. Muslim fertility, Hindu fertility. Oh my God. But now nobody talks about Muslim fertility. Now they are talking about Muslim identity.
We had a public lecture in Gokhale Institute by Dr. S.Y. Qureshi.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The same topic.
Oh, okay. So we were talking that Muslim fertility because I remember when I went to Kerala in 1986, somebody told me immediately, sir, Kerala fertility go. But sir, the Malappuram, I thought they are having 6 children. And I said, how is Malappuram looks like? Let me go and see where I am not going to Malappuram. And then I went there, they told me it is a Bhimar district of India. We have Bhimar states. But then I saw there is a migration started. I said, those women are using foreign condoms, not the Indian condoms. And the husband is away, is a contraceptive. This is what the Malthus said. If you look at the Malthus theory, don't marry. If you are married, very late. If you are married, constrained within the marriage. If your husband is away for 3 years, there is no fertility. And Malappuram today has such 2 children. Only there is a time frame. Because they are not literate like Nayars and Giravas or Brahmins or Siddha Christians in Kerala. So you are blaming them, but with their socio-economic condition, what they did is different. When you have to look at them in a holistic perspective, not look at them. So we will talk about Muslim fertility. Anyway, we had a debate. I saw you could have a debate. I saw many people writing about that. Now that's over. For example, what was the signature deed by Donald Trump? 6 Muslim countries will not allow anyone. Young Muslim. Of course, M is still a factor in many places, but now not on fertility, but on different things. So fertility was the thing globally, but of course India was in a bad position. Because India had high fertility in 1950s onwards. India had high mortality in 1900 years. You had a high death rate. In fact, I was remembering, I was thinking at least our Indians will be more bright because we had work at home. Work at home was that for almost for 1 year. And everybody talking about excess mortality in this country. I said, what about excess fertility? There will be a baby boom in India because they are work at home. But all of us are failed there. Work at home includes also making babies, but we did not do that. So the fertility could not even increase during COVID-19, except some states, some community, some middle class, some people are living with fertility. You said we are waiting for the fertility. Now anyway, COVID, we are at home. Let's have another baby. But not everybody did it. Even opportunities given to you to have babies, we never utilize that. We always lose our opportunities. I think we did badly. The fertility could not increase. So our birth rate is okay. So Kerala had 3 lakh births. Kerala used to have 6 lakh births, 30 years back. And we are closing primary schools. There are no children in the school now. So we are bringing children from, we have a school now, we teach in Bengali medium. In Kerala. Because you can bring Bengali workers to work, but can you bring Bengali children for the standard one? That means you are asking about migrating the small children for LKG, UKG. You don't produce. But we need school to run. So children are coming and they say, Bengali teacher, salary is paid by the Bengal government. We have agreement now. So things are changing. This is a different trend in 2000. So we had fertility, mortality is. But both period, India was in a disadvantaged state. We were blamed. India, world population in India is like this, 14%, 13%. India, China, this much population. We all said, oh, they are growing. Population bomb, and people are talking about us. Migration, we are strong. They are weak. After 100 years, we have power now. What is the power? Demographic dividend power. I was talking in one of the countries, we have excess demographic labor force. We can supply labor to all the 180 countries in the world. All the 180 countries in the world. Somebody was telling me every day some country will come and sign an agreement with India. Japan is coming, we want people. Germany is coming, we want people. I said, not Japan, Germany. All the 180 countries will come to India. Please send some numbers. Please send some nurses. Please send some students. Please send somebody. We want somebody, sir. Sir. We are in a high advantage position. Then what will happen globally? They will control migration. I was doing my PhD period in IIPS. We used to talk about unwanted fertility. Now we are talking about undocumented migration. Concept is not changed. Earlier we talked about excess fertility. Now we are talking about irregular migrants, Rohingyas. Everybody wants to close the border. Not only closing the border between India and Bangladesh, but closing the border within our own countries. Where did we learn from that? We learned during COVID-19. COVID-19 period, I was talking because I was one of the members to advise the Kerala Chief Minister on COVID-19 because we are intern migration is a big issue. Nobody talks about that. To move between district to district, what you need that period, you need e-pass. In my lifetime, I never had e-pass to move between my district to another district. I only had e-visas. Singapore, you have e-visa. Australia, you have. I never had. I was talking to collector. You are acting like an Indian ambassador. And Indians were internally displaced during COVID-19. We talk about internally displaced in some countries. We were displaced. Internally displaced refugees. We are all responsible for that. All of us, all educated people who are work at home, who made money, we are all responsible for the fate of these who are undocumented or uninformed. We are responsible. We advise the Prime Minister of India. Somebody might be advising him, rightly or wrongly. But you have economic advisor for him. Why there is no migration advisor? We never ask this question. Why there is no migration advisor? Labor, they said labor advisor. Labor is different, migration is different. Migration advisor. Why? Why? I got pushed the economic advisor to write a chapter on migration in 2017, India only. I told Arvind Subramanian, you have to write before you leave. I said, you are a migrant. Your mother is in Chennai. And in your first year of your economic review, you had 1,800 pages of a report, volume 1 and 2. Not even a single word called migration in your report. And you want people to read the report. In India, you have a 1,800-page report. And not even a single word called migrant and migration. What are we talking about India's economic review and presented in a big meeting in the parliament? What are we talking about? They are invisible. I wanted them to be visible. Of course, COVID brought them to visible. Thanks to COVID-19, I always speak, COVID brought limelight of migrants. I think COVID did one great thing. Yeah, so many things happened. One thing it did, it brought migrant issue to the foreign level. Central government, state government, I saw everybody talking about migration. Journalists, politicians, everybody talking about migration. Either for or against, whatever it is, but they were started talking about migration. I remember in the election campaign of Donald Trump, he said, if I come back to power, I will construct a wall between Mexico and US. He did not do it. Before that, he out. Our home minister, not somebody, our own home minister, made a statement in the Northeast election. We come back to power, we will construct a wall between India and Bangladesh. They came back to power. Now also they came to power. But they can construct a wall between India and Bangladesh. There is a climate change. Climate issue, somebody swimming from Bangladesh because there is a water crisis, is swimming. Can you tell him, stop here, you are undocumented migrant, you don't have humanity? And who are they? They are Indians. I was looking at the map of India. Burma was part of India. History. You have to look at the history. So Bangladesh, Pakistan, we are created. Otherwise, before the 1930s, only India. They are what? They are our brothers and sisters. When the COVID was hit and the students were being starving in UK and USA, Indian students go and eat with Pakistani students. And Pakistan students are eating with Bangladesh students. We are doing politics. Politics we are doing, not the people who are sitting in the UK, Canada, Australia. Indians and Pakistan, they talk. Even the border. And I remember when I went to Pakistan, what are they talking? It's only we create tension between them in the name of God politics, in the name of our own God politics. I think this is important, but migration becoming a hot topic because everybody wants to control migration. During COVID-19, you should read one of the reports called the World Migration Report. During COVID-19, we have 128,000 restrictions for mobility in the world. 128,000 restriction was made by all countries with a restriction from March 2020 to December. Still, some places you have some restrictions to control mobility in the name of COVID-19. Why COVID, sir? Why COVID? You are using COVID as an opportunity to get rid of migrants, which the Gulf needs. I have seen in my own eyes. Return migrants. They are resource for cancer. They are not, salaries are not paid. It's like what I call them daylight robbery by the developing countries and the rich countries to not paying the poor Indian migrant salary. They are not paid salary of Indian migrant. Imagine what would have happened to Nepalese migrant, Bangladeshi migrant. I was telling to SARC meeting. There are 5 countries, oil producing countries. Oil producing countries. We call them what is called the OPEC, oil producing exporting country. When the price goes down, they will fix the price. But we are human resource sending countries. India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, and Philippines. We can sit together and tell we can fix the price for our laborers. Not even a minimum wage exists in the Gulf countries. What are we talking about? Not even a minimum wage. I was sitting with one of the embassy, one of the countries. I told them, sir, we have at least a NREG wage 200. We have a minimum wage. They said we don't have. And I said, at least you have a living wage. Somebody wants to live in Qatar, Bahrain. Do you have a living wage? We are not talking about that. So COVID time, we are getting money. All countries worried. South Arabia is worried money is coming to India. We are receiving $100 billion. Money will come. 100, not 100, 200 billion will come to India. Money will come. So we are now in an advantageous position to attract our migration. But we have to do many things. And every country has to do many things. I was telling the Ministry of External Affairs. Today in India, very sad. We have 185 countries you get visa on arrival. 185 countries citizens can arrive visa on arrival in India. How many countries Indian will get visa on arrival? When India talks about 5 trillion economy, growth, G20, I said visa to be relaxed. Visa on arrival was there in the UK in 1960s. Not very loud. Why we are not allowing us to get visa on arrival? Why? What are you thinking about India? I called India, the brand India, emerging India, skill India. Why I am not allowed? Why my passport is very weak? You have a passport index. India is come to the very lowest level. Japan people get 140 countries visa on arrival. US gets 170 countries visa on arrival. That's why Indians are denouncing their passport and getting the Indo-UK visa, Indo-Canadian visa, Indo-Japan visa, why? Because our passport has no value. We have to improve our passport management. We have to improve our database. We have to improve our immigration bill has to come. We have to improve peace within the country. Like Tamil Nadu, what is happening in Tamil Nadu should not happen. I told yesterday in Tamil Nadu, you write a board. This is true even in Maharashtra. When you cross the border from Karnataka to Maharashtra, there is a code called Welcome to Maharashtra. I said, you are writing Welcome to Tamil Nadu. You write Unwelcome to Tamil Nadu. You say Welcome to Tamil Nadu, then you treat the migrants. And somebody said there is nothing in the constitution. I said, no, constitution will not talk about it because constitution says you can go anywhere. There is no migration concept in the constitution. If there are migrants, you are moving between two and you go by a house to live there. Migrant was we decide. This migrant was concept was defined by constitution never defined. You can move any country, anywhere you can buy a house. So we are redrawing migrants. Where are the migrant issue in the constitution? Migrant does not exist there within the country. You can move. That is migration. No. We are creating a migration, one group, and we say internal migrants. We say, there's a big debate on that. What debate? They are us. There is no, I told the Kerala government when the COVID was going on, Kerala Chief Minister called the PM, please bring us. Otherwise, I will take a flight and go and bring Keralites. I told the Kerala Chief Minister, there is no Kerala passport. You cannot go without their permission. Their ministers are denied. If you want to go to abroad, you have to get it from the government of India. Indian passport. I am holding Indian passport, not Tamil passport, Telugu passport, Oriya passport. Indian passport. We are holding Indians. We are Indian. So Indian can move anywhere. Nobody can stop me. I can work anything. I may reduce the wages of the particular state. I may increase the wages. I may do something. I may take jobs of them. That is all. It is my freedom. Given in the constitution, right to speak, right to work, right to move. There is no migration. So I think migration will be a very, very hot topic of 21st century. Point is that they could control fertility and mortality. They cannot control migration. Why? You people will move. You don't give a visa on arrival. I have seen hundreds of people from India going on visit visas. And they go underground. Students go to countries underground. Because of your visa policies. Nobody wants to be underground. You don't want to call me undocumented migrant. Why should be undocumented? But we have to relax policies and Indians will go everywhere. I want to conclude by saying, none of us, we all seen during COVID-19. Some of us are affected by COVID. I know some of us probably had COVID. But none of us have seen COVID. Did any one of you see COVID? Any one of you? No. Only you know that he has COVID. Don't go near to you. This family has a COVID. This area has a COVID. And they announced lockdown with 500 COVID cases in India. And Kerala was number one. Maharashtra number two. Kerala was number one with 111. Maharashtra with 104. So I told the Kerala government, just wait. We will lose the number one position. We lost. Next day we lost. That means without a passport, without seeing the COVID, it has moved to 200 plus countries in the world. COVID has no passport. It has no visa. It has moved. If the COVID can move globally and threaten people, Indians can move. Indians will move. And Indians will continue to move because 2000, this century is belong to migrant and migration structure. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Now the problem is both countries should sit together and work. See, when we talk about agreement, we don't talk about visas. I was asking people, visa issue is not talked. Visa issue, why you are not talking? Because visa is important. It's not moving between Maharashtra to Karnataka. You need visa, for example, when the return migrants come back to what is called this Philippine workers, it's a specific in the immigration counter. They are telling return of heroes. Heroes are coming back. No, they are heroes. They are not fighting war between India and Pakistan, but they are better heroes because they are fighting against poverty at their home. They are fighting against unemployment in their own state. So they are the warriors. But then we have to, recognize them and produce, like when you stand with some of the students, you go for 1 day conference in Mumbai, you know that. We understand like that. That should be nothing like, okay, these are the students going. So these are the, going for work. These are going for tourism. These are going for honeymoon. These are going for this. So like you have a lot of categories of things. We have to organize that. We have to organize that and they have to organize that. It's a mutual concern. Because I was asking One day the Indian, US ambassador in Chennai, I think maybe several years back, I was asking him, because I went for some discussion with them on Good Friday, to scholars. I asked them, sir, morning 7 o'clock, there is a big queue standing to your embassy to get the token. People stand at 5 o'clock. A big queue under the, I don't know, anybody from Chennai here? Anybody from Chennai? I explained to it every place, earlier days. Now, of course, we have a different system. Just queue. Then he told me, you are telling to a queue here, you go and see in Washington how the Americans are standing together. It is like tit for tit. I think we have to land. Why should somebody go, a student going to study in, after paying, I was surprised. After paying $20,000 and 40% of the many university money is coming from student fees in many countries in the world, they have to stand, they have to get for visa, they have to wait for 6 months. What are you talking about? They are paying your salary of your teacher in the university in the UK. Why does they stand?
Possible to distinguish between a potential immigrant and the person who's going for legitimate non-immigrant purpose.
Yeah, but we have to decide that. I think we have to think of a different type of visa. Like you have the multiple entry visa, you have J1, B1. I think the visa format should be reworked. Why should we, for example, tourist visa? We have medicine. We have in India, we have what is called medical tourism. People come to India for, service. So people from Maldives, almost all of them are in Kerala now. All Maldives are given. So they said that there is maybe a climate change will come, there will be no Maldives. So we are preparing ourselves to be in Kerala. So, and Nepal, all of them are here. So like that, I think we should have an open, my message has to be, what are you talking about? Orderly, safe, and legal migration. Orderly, safe, and legal migration. For that, we have to provide an opportunity. Because it cannot be done by migrants. Government has to sit, and then for that they need data. You need to know migration corridors. For example, I don't know, some of you who are looking at international migration, prior to the COVID-19, there was a MEA website which will give you how many Indians are there in every country. There was a number. Indians in Russia, 4,000, Ukraine, 2,000. After the war was going on, we all went and brought people. And the external affairs minister went to the parliament and said, he was talking very, we brought 22,000 people. Huh? You brought 22, you said only 4,000 last month. Then I said, you are wrong by 400%. When I told them, oh, sir, we are not changing the website. They changed to 22,000. We should have numbers. We should have numbers. That's why we talk about migration surveys, which I do in Kerala. We are doing in other states. We have to think about it. We need no numbers. We saw that during COVID-19, the one day one flight and saw with trains. Corridors. I think we need more research. Even migrants is a hot topic after COVID-19. It will continue to be a topic. And I think I need more young people to work on the topic. Because I remember 1950s, I saw there was a sentence in there's a book by Kingsley Davis, Population of India and Pakistan, a small section on this. Migration is now, people are picking up, I want more people. Yes, Bharat?
On this question of immigrant versus work. There is also pattern emerging that is of short-term migration, guest workers program. And many countries are interested not to give immigrant visa, but to give this type of visa for promoting guest workers. So in future, I think migration can take a form of circulation. And that is what happening in our country, short duration, short-term migration, circular migration. And that is one of the very exploited norms. So that can will say the nature of migration. So, but my larger question is that when we are looking at the immigration policy, what is happening globally, how the nation state is responding, how the citizenship of ideas evolving in response to migration, and we see that the migration is shaping the nation state and ideas of citizenship internally. But at the same time, globally, we have another category emerging, the citizenship of transnational character, where we have overseas Indian citizens, and many countries have given citizenship, dual citizenship. So one can be Pakistani and one can be British. So, and they can go into two places. And similarly, there are many countries. So how this is global citizenship, transnational citizenship is evolving, and migration becomes a barrier. So entire politics of immigration control revolves around the nature of the evolution, nation state creating citizenship, and citizenship again trying to change the character of the nation state, because citizenship is no longer confined to the national territory. You are going to globally somewhere and you can have multiple. So this is how going to evolve in future, we don't know. But one thing is very clear, migration is going to change in the form of circular migration. And the second point is that when we try to look at migration within the domestic space, internal migration must be linked with urbanization. And it is larger question of who gets what and where. This is the larger question of shaping political economy, who gets what. And in that respect, how space, place, regional disparity, rural-urban divide is being shaped, that is like, I think, the larger question. And this question is also connected internationally, which shapes the citizenship idea global. So my point is that we are doing empirical research, how to ground our migration discipline within the discipline, having certain theoretical perspective. So,
Yeah, I think Bhagat, you are right. Yeah, no, I think a lot of new forms will come. Like you have the green card in the US, now you have the blue card in the European Union. I mean, right? Blue card is there. There will be new forms of will come because you can work at home. In fact, some people I met them now in India. They say I'm working for somebody in US, but I'm here. You get, and there are many companies now even talking about, to work at home. I don't think the work culture might change. I think migration will change. But if you look at it, I think we should look at that. There's a book by UN called The World of Population Policies Yet Research. And they have a canvas a question on what the government thinks about migration. All of them want to regulate. Every year, they want to regulate fertility. Now, regulate migration. And that can be in many contexts, including, and also that's why it has gone to the politician gangs. See, it has now gone to the academics. Politician has taken over that. That's why everybody talking about politics, But then, even they talk about politics, there is no election manifesto. There is nothing about migration. You take any political party, they don't say, if I come back to power, I give you this. Nobody talking about that. Am I right? Yeah.
So, I have to work with
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Just two specific examples. You talk about guest worker program and circular.
Yeah.
So that's what Germany did, because after the Second World War, there was a big shortage of male workers. So they had a guest worker program for Turkish immigrants primarily.
Yeah.
And now the same Turkish immigrants, they stayed, they did. Now they're in the second or third generation. Now they've become a very powerful movement. And some of the anti-immigrant feeling in Europe, including Germany, perhaps, or Brexit is the manifestation. Because the guest worker program, which starts off in a very noble idea, but the guest workers don't go back. Second example, this is from Mumbai. See, Mumbai's 4 best run municipal hospitals are run by the municipality. They're not by the state government. There's one state government run hospital, JJ hospital, but all JJ is, sorry, KM. JJ. And the other 4 municipal hospitals, now there are 4, more than 4, there are 7. They are run by the municipal finance. Yeah. They are excellent, their service is free, quality is good. But the suspicion is, now this is where you ask for data, that the usage is much more by migrants who are coming from, say, other hinterland of Maharashtra or Bihar, Jharkhand, excellent, even the cancer hospital. So this is being used by the local politicians as an anti-migrant, this thing, because the migrants don't have voting power. This goes like you said, you talk about Tamil Nadu and Bihar, but in Mumbai it happened in the early 70s.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Now, of course, they moved to Bihar.
Here, I'm not keeping track of what is the usage of this municipal hospital. Is it more by Mumbaikas who are resident or more by migrants?
We don't have. Even the migration governors putting the municipality to the government, wherever the municipal comes back, there was nothing much. Am I right? Yeah. Even the governance mechanism, city, city, everybody talks about the state, but city had the richest municipality probably. But what did they do for that?
When they started introducing data capturing, I think it will be like a data box.
No, but we have, how long we can hide? If you have a COVID, how long we can hide? So we have to, I could,
Government should come and
Does the person resident in Jharkhand have the right to use the Mumbai Municipal Hospital or not? This is a basic question.
but he's Indian. Oh, you are talking about Jharkhand. He's Indian, no?
Of course, no, I'm not provoking the
Yeah,
debate.
but you know, I'm,
But we have to establish this as a fundamental constitutional right. I have a constitutional right to go anywhere in India and go to any municipal hospital, even though I'm not a taxpayer in that municipality.
yeah. But you are tax. No, for example, when the finance commission had a meeting, I had a meeting with the last finance commission with all the members, who's currently the RBI, the governor. I told you are dividing money through different things. Population is one of the category. I told them, why can't you divide population, your money on losing states, gaining states in terms of migration? He was looking at me. Sir, you are creating problem to me. I think maximum you lose your job. You should do that. Because we can't give you money to stay. Because, you know, for example, for example, during COVID-19, we had what is called the community kitchen. It was paid from our pocket. So we are having 5 million migrants. So we don't mind paying. The government can give up the day of you are given more money for that. Because we don't get any money now because everything we have put. Education, number one, no money. Health, number one, no money. But where will we get money? We are old people, give more money for old age population. I was teaching with them. They were interested in that. I had to study for them. But I will do that next. I think we have to get into policy debate. The Bible is not getting into policy debate. See, policy, you know, for example, look at that. I was discussing with Aravind for 2 years, finally he wrote a report. That report had made so much impact. Suppose he has also gone without writing a report, you would not have had anything. So we talked about the 2007 report. Right? So I think the policy circle, the migration evidence-based policy, that we are only talking to politics. Oh, if they are coming, they are taking jobs, they are doing this, they are doing that crime. No, Kerala once they told me there are a lot of crime by the migrants. I asked the sub-inspector of police, get me the list of people who are in jails. How many are Malay and non-Malay? Sir, you don't ask this question. I told in Dubai there are 125 people in jail, half of them are Malayalis. But see, jail, you cannot treat them crime under it. Crime is part of the life. So we do everything blame migrants. Oh, this is migrants. This is migrants. This is migrants. See, we are looking for, you know, I think that we should stop. That is why the politics should not come. That's what I was telling even Chennai.
researchers have also role.
Who?
Researchers have.
We have to play a role. We failed during COVID-19.
See, when the issue like this, the migrants have right to access to the healthcare of the local municipal corporation provided services. Then researcher has to come out who built the plan, who built the road, who built the what. We have to talk that urban space. Yeah, we have to. That's why they write to the city and. No, we have to be part of the debate.
Not just that, sorry, actually, the road requires cement. The cement is from limestone from Jharkhand. Then you need steel. It comes from iron ore, it's from Jharkhand. Then you need electricity. The coal is burned too, so coal is from there. So you welcome the coal, the iron ore, the limestone, but people you don't.
I think we have to change them. We have to change them. I think COVID had made at least there was some noise about migrants. I hope it will continue for the coming years.
Okay, thank you, sir, for such an enlightening lecture after 25 years for me. Because it was long back I listened to sir's lecture because it used to be a time when nobody wants his lecture because he is such a crowd puller in CDS that everybody likes to attend his lectures because he has enough to give to us at that age because he uses all these things at that age. When we were teenagers, you can know the early 20s, you can imagine the kind of lectures Professor Rajan used to give. Anyway, migration has brought in, he has been sleeping with or working with migration for a long time. And now he has an agenda to, I think he has done the fifth, he's going to do the fifth Kerala migration survey. And he's planning to do a migration survey for Maharashtra also. So very soon, next year, 2024, we can have some numbers because interesting thing is that the latest RBI report also shows that the maximum amount of remittance, almost 35% of the remittance now flows to Maharashtra. So surprising that Kerala is becoming the second now. Maharashtrians are moving on. So migration or remittance wise, Maharashtra is the second now. So now sir is coming to Maharashtra after a long innings in the south. So he is back to his study days here because he was in Mumbai earlier. So now the 24 is planning for a migration survey here. So I hope that time we will have more interaction at the institute with the survey results and all these things. So some of our,
Please further this.
yeah, some of the students also can be engaged because we have a population demography program also.
Yeah.
So some of the students may also make this as an opportunity to explore this kind of surveys and results and our students also, because I remember Bhupesh was here as our student. And we had a small scale survey on Ratnagiri side, which used to be the concentration of migrants. So we have some amount of work on that area also. So thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, this Kerala migrant survey is being run already 8 rounds, and we are now doing special training for people to use the Kerala migrant survey data. It's being available, at least 100 papers are written, and IIT, IIM, Vipulka, PhD, only sources Kerala data. So people are going to teach. I think I given the link to him, and the course is starting on March 15th. First lecture I'll give, then other people will give. If anybody would like to join, you can do. So the data available for the Kerala for 8 rounds, and then we also did the similar survey in Tamil Nadu, Goa, Punjab, and Gujarat. And this year we are doing in Jharkhand and Odisha. Right now the survey is going. I'm going to Odisha next week. And then we are aiming to do in Maharashtra. I had a meeting with the VC of what is called, where I am right now, all the Kalan residents in Flame. He said, they created their position to invite me. So I am the first resident scholar there. But I don't say that. I'm moving around, every place within Pune itself. And I had a meeting with him. I told him because it will be a 50,000 household survey, costing close to 4 crores. I'm going to meet the board members to convince them. And then I also said we'll also talk to diasporas, because diaspora can fund elections in India. They can fund definitely a migrant survey. I told them if they can fund every political party, I have looked at the political party data, how much money they are getting from diaspora. So I told them, he said that's a good idea. He said he's a diaspora. He's a returned migrant from Singapore. So probably it will happen next year. Okay, thank you very much. All the best. Please join us.